So look, we know the idea of lesser of two evils, right? So, the concept is, there's a difference between you murdering somebody and you telling a little lie. When you murder somebody, you like, ooh, you killed them. And the other one is like, bitch, why you lying? So we know that concept that there is a lesser of two evils. I think that there should be a concept of the lesser of two truths. Okay, two truths. So think about colorism, okay? There are so many times in my past that I have seen light skinned or biracial people. And I'm not exempt to this. It hasn't been in recent years, child. I have been saved from the drenches of light skinned tears. But there's so many times that I see when dark skinned people are telling their experiences in regards to colorism, light skinned people tend to try to find something that mirrors what they're talking about that relates to them. For example, oh yeah, I was treated badly and called names because I was dark skinned, called tar baby and African booty scratcher and blah blah blah. And then the light skinned person turns around and say, well, I was called names too. They tried to cut my hair. They called me names too. So while that may be a truth, okay, you may have been called names. You may have experienced some sadness because you were bullied because you were biracial or light skinned or in the context of your own particular story. That may be the total absolute truth. But in the context of dismantling the system of colorism, you are the privileged one. So your truth is the lesser of their truth. And so this is not the time for you to bring up your truth because it's not going to the benefit of dismantling this system. Because if your goal is to dismantle this system, is to fight against racism, fight against colorism specifically, then why would you need to add this almost contradicting truth to the narrative? It's unneeded because it's a lesser of the two. What you're saying this for is trying to equalize y'all experiences when it is not equal. It's like a white woman saying, oh, I'm oppressed by the man too. The patriarchy, the patriarchy. Yeah, okay, Miss White Feminism, but we understand that you are oppressed by patriarchy, but you are not oppressed by like the rest of us. Your whiteness protects you. There is a difference. And while it is important to your particular narrative that you share the things that oppress you, when we're talking about dismantling the systems, the most marginalized people should be the ones that you are uplifting. Now, if they ask you about your experience, yes, tell your experience. But if what you're saying is to contradict or dilute or illegitimize or even equalize a dark-skinned person's narrative, you are part of the problem, Sugarfoot. But sometimes your truth is unneeded and it's not important in the moment. If you're a poor white person and we're in the context of racism, yeah, you might have had a hard life being a poor white person, but race wasn't an obstacle. If you're a man, gender wasn't an obstacle. You might have some struggles, but gender wasn't an obstacle. If you're a light-skinned person, your color was not an obstacle. Resist that light-skinned urge to interject your story into the narrative when we're talking about colorism. Yes, your story is important in other contexts, but in this one, whatever that urge that says, "Ooh, I want to tell you how I was bullied in school for being light skinned," no, zip it, clench it up, shut up, be quiet.